Test. Test, test.
I'm the godfather of this shit. Call me Corleone, I get you in. And I'm shooting shit like Scorsese. Get you whacked, ain't nobody made me. I'm the godfather of this shit. Godfather. And you ain't gon' sell me like a bitch. Godfather. Corleone, Corleone. Shoot. Like Scorsese. Ain't nobody made me. I ain't no bitch.
All right, we are back. Championship rounds with, of course, the kid Marcel Pierre as usual. Now, I know I was supposed to come back for Jake Paul versus Nathan Diaz. Going to touch on that a little bit before I get out of here. But I'm here predominantly to talk about the DuckTales. Yeah, the people that will assumptively fight anyone except each other. But before I get into that, as always, everybody like, share, comment, subscribe. Let me know what you think about everything I'm going to discuss here. And yeah, I always reply. I'd love to break it down in the comment section. And if you're here for the live broadcast, of course, I'll put it on the screen and we'll go from there. That being said, again, championship rounds back. Marcel Pierre, that's me. And without further ado, let's go ahead and break into the first topic. The show must go on. Must go on. That being said, topic of conversation is obviously one Terrence Bud Crawford. Now, after the performance that he put on against one Errol Spence in what was supposed to be on paper a 50-50 fight, well, Bud Crawford went out there and showed that it was more like 95-5. He put on a clinic and sent Errol Spence to the canvas, and believe me, Errol was wearing it. That being said, who does Bud Crawford face next? You know, there is the Spence rematch out there on the table. Do we really want to see that? Do we really want to see that? Now, I know a new fight is just that, a new fight, and anything can happen. But I think fans, pundits, and everyone who cared to tune in saw all they needed to see. I mean, I think before an Errol Spence gets in there with Bud Crawford again, he needs a tune-up fight or two. And who knows if that fight will still be on the table if that's the route he takes. That being said, what fight do most people want to see Terrence Bud Crawford in? Well, of course, that is the match between he and Star, the face of boxing, some tout, Canelo Alvarez. Now, obviously, Canelo Alvarez is tied up at the moment, but this is the fight a lot of people want to see. Obviously, Canelo Alvarez dared to be great, and he elevated the divisions. Yeah, he went up pretty high trying to snatch belts and fell short against Dimitri Bivol. Well, their rematch fell through, and everybody knows now he's slated to face one Jermell Charlo, and they just had the press conference today. That being said, is this a fight that fans would have an appetite for? Of course. Bud Crawford, the only boxer to unify belts in two different weight classes in the 4-belt era. Yeah, the only other boxer to do that is Clarissa Shields, and that's women's boxing. That being said, you have the belt collector, the king of pay-per-view. Well, I don't know if he's the king of pay-per-view. You put those people on paper, obviously the seats are going to fill and the pay-per-view buys are going to tally. That being said, keep losing the broadcast here. That being said, with Canelo Alvarez tied up with Jermell Charlo, clearly this potential bout is on hold. It's on hold. But that doesn't mean that it will never happen. I mean, there's the Boots Ennis's out there, Jermall Charlo. There's some fights out there for Bud Crawford to take in the interim. Does he do that? Or does he wait for another blockbuster fight like that he just had with Errol Spence? I don't know. But I know this is the fight that'll get him the most notoriety and the most money. So it would make complete sense. It would make complete sense for him to take this fight and cash the hell out. See, the broadcast keeps getting interrupted. That's all right. Let's just move on to the next topic here. Of course, the press conference was today. Canelo Alvarez versus Jermell Charlo. Undisputed versus undisputed. Yeah, that's what they're slating it as, and that's exactly what it is. Both men are the undisputed unified champions. That being said, Jermell's coming up 2 weight classes. He's coming up 2 weight classes to face the mighty Canelo Alvarez. Well, if you were privy to the press conference, you saw, just like I saw, the size discrepancy. And it wasn't in Canelo's favor. I know I said this in a previous show, but both Jermell and Jermall are bigger men than Canelo Alvarez. So the fact that they are saying that Jermell Charlo is coming up 2 weight classes is true, but it's irrelevant. He's a bigger man than Canelo Alvarez. The fact that Canelo did what he did, being the smaller man at higher weight classes, is not only impressive, but it's telling. It's very telling. Impressive, but it's telling. It's very telling. Obviously, if Canelo Alvarez can go up weight classes and lay guys down the size of Caleb Plant, then his power is going to translate in a fight with Jermell Charlo. We had to show up and see, and fights aren't fought on paper. But come on, man, this guy has been putting boys down for a while. He didn't get Bivol out of there, but he's put down larger men, not only than himself, obviously, but than that of Jermell Charlo. That being said, when this fight takes off, although Jermell is a skilled boxer, he's the unified champion for a reason. But that being said, I'm going to have to ride with Canelo Alvarez just because of not only his power, but his overall boxing wherewithal. You can't sleep on that. You gotta recognize real on it. Moving on. Back to Bud Crawford. They said Floyd ducked him. Floyd got out of the sport before Crawford could get to him. Crawford would beat Floyd. Based on what? Based on what premise are fans getting out there saying that Bud Crawford would beat Floyd Mayweather? Because he took out Errol Spence? Oh, no. Because he took out Sean Porter? Oh, no. Because he took out Special K, Kell Brook? Come on, guys. Like, it's very, very impressive what Bud Crawford has been able to do. And obviously, like I said, he's the only unified world champion in the 4-belt era. What's up, Anthony Beatty? Long time no talk. Hope you're doing well. That being said, he's the only unified champion in the 4-belt era. Nobody else has done this. Only Clarissa Shields in women's boxing. But does that put him on par with Floyd Money Mayweather? Nah, I think not. Now, there's a thing that they're saying that, hey, if Floyd was 50-0, some people don't count Conor McGregor, so they say he's 49-0. Crawford's sitting at a clean 40-0 himself. And they're saying that if Crawford gets to 50-0, he trumps Floyd. No, I disagree. I disagree, and this is why. Floyd Money Mayweather's resume murders Crawford's resume in cold blood. It resurrects his resume and murders that shit again. It's not close. It is not close. If Crawford gets to 60-0, maybe we can have more of a conversation there. Maybe we can. But he's going to have to take out some more names. Because other than the Sean Porters and the Errol Spencers of the world, like, what does Crawford's resume really look like? Yes, he's collected the belts. He's defeated his contemporaries. You can't knock a guy for that. You cannot knock a guy for that. But to put him on par with Floyd Money Mayweather? Hell no. I'm just going to say that. Hell no. The two don't compare. They're both boxers. They're both great boxers. But Bud Crawford just simply isn't Floyd Money Mayweather. I mean, let's be real on it. Speaking of Floyd Money Mayweather, let me get to this. They're saying, why is Floyd such a hated boxer? Because he beat all your favorite boxers and he didn't take a lot of damage to do it for the most part. They're asking, whose resume is better? Manny Pacquiao or Floyd Mayweather? I'm sorry, but who won that fight? Who won that fight? Not to mention who won that fight, but which of these two was rendered 100% unconscious with their face in the damn canvas? Was it Floyd or was it Pac-Man? Was it Money Mayweather or was it Manny Pacquiao? I think you know. And that isn't the only L that Pacquiao took. How many L's has Floyd took? That's right, 0. Not only has Floyd been able to dominate the squared circle under the Marcus of Queensberry rules, boxing, but he's been able to parlay that into amazing business moves outside of the ring. Now he's on a tour, and I've lost interest. I'm going to be real. I've lost interest, complete interest, but he's on a tour of exhibition bouts where he's facing social influencers, or he's facing, MMA fighters with kind of a name. Well, he faced one, not prominent UFC fighters like Jake Paul, but he's still facing guys that aren't even on his wavelength and getting paid truckloads of cash to show and have fun. Is he even training for this shit? I don't think he is. Hell, the rumor in the rumor mill is he didn't even train for Conor McGregor. And if he didn't train for Conor McGregor, he damn sure didn't train for Logan Paul. That being said, you can't hate on the guy. His resume craps all over Terrence Bud Crawford's. The real comparison that people should be making isn't who had the better resume between Pacquiao or Floyd, or whether or not Bud Crawford would beat Floyd. No. That's what they say in MMA about John Jones. The only person that's going to beat John Jones is John Jones. Well, the only person that is going to defeat Floyd Mayweather is Floyd Mayweather. Does he fight too long in these exhibitions and somebody makes him look extremely human that shouldn't? Does he do that? Or does he take another official bout over the hill and the guy shows him that he's over the hill? I don't think so. He's been very, very smart as far as the opponents he selected during his career and when he decided to call it quits. Hell, he's even being pretty damn smart with these exhibitions, if I'm being real with you. Let's see here. Let's see. All right. So anyways, the real question is, who's better? Floyd Money Mayweather or Pretty Boy Floyd? Now, people say that, Pretty Boy Floyd, he had the power. He was trying to, damage his opponents. And we're talking about the same guy here. We're talking about the same guy, but two different renditions, two different eras, if you will. Pretty Boy Floyd was the guy that was out trying to snatch the world titles and become a pay-per-view star, and he did just that. Brittle hands, though. Brittle hands is what they say, and he had a lot of hand injuries, and he had to go a lot more defensively, which proved to be the smartest play for the rest of his career as he defeated the likes of Shane Mosley. He defeated Oscar De La Hoya. He defeated Miguel Cotto, Manny Pacquiao, Maidana, Berto. Like, I can go on and on. He defeated multiple world champions because he switched his style up to predominantly defense. Yes, he still scored. You gotta score to win. So he was still scoring. He's still that great skilled boxer, but he really dominated not getting hit and hitting. You hit and not get hit. Fans are like, oh, boo, boo. We came to see Gotti Ward. What is this? Not Gotti Ward, because Gotti or Ward ain't in the ring. And they would never be as big as Floyd Money Mayweather, and people hate it. They hate it. They do. When Cotto gave Floyd a bloody nose, they were trying to say Floyd was done. He was slowing down. Well, that proved to not be true. They say Maidana beat him. The real answer to this question is Money Mayweather. Money Mayweather was better than Pretty Boy Floyd. Okay? I mean, that's not always the case. Sometimes when you have a fighter young and hungry, they're better than what they were when they get older and seasoned. Well, Floyd Mayweather in the sport of boxing aged like fine fucking wine. He did. So the answer to the question is Money Mayweather. Moving along. Speaking of Money Mayweather, obviously he's got a lot to say, even though Tank Davis claims to no longer be with Floyd. What did Floyd say? If you're with Al Heyman, you're with Money Mayweather. If you're with Money Mayweather, you're with Al Heyman. So I guess Tank is still with Floyd, even though they haven't said anything about that officially. That being said, Floyd wants to see Inoue, the guy that's been at the top of the pound for pound list, the guy that just took out Cool Boy Scooter Stephen Fulton. Yes, he took him out. That being said, Gervonta Tank Davis, pay-per-view star, just took out another star in Ryan Garcia, and everyone knows he's 29-0 with 27 knockouts. Pretty fucking impressive. That being said, you put these two together, Inoue with the country and the fanfare behind him, and arguably the face of boxing right now, the biggest pay-per-view star there is right now in Gervonta Tank Davis. Tell me you don't have a marquee blockbuster fight that does numbers and maybe even sets records. I think you do. But does Inoue need to keep bumping up weight classes to meet Gervonta at a catchweight? Would that be smart for his career? If Gervonta sent the contract and Inoue rejects it, is he ducking him? I know you guys like to throw that term out there a lot. Oh, he's a duck. Is it smart for their careers? Does it make sense? Does it make sense for Inoue? I don't think so. Why the hell would he take that risk and elevate? He doesn't need to. He just won the biggest bout of his career thus far. Gervonta Davis, does that make sense? Hell no. You've been trying to talk crap about Devin Haney. Well, Devin Haney's moving up. He's facing Regis Prograis. Okay? Why don't you fight Shakur Stevenson? Why don't you fight Shakur? Speaking of Shakur Stevenson, Shakur has been calling out Vasyl Lomachenko. Well, Vasyl don't want that match. Shakur lost his belts on the scale at 130 and isn't currently a world champion. Why the hell would Vasyl Lomachenko take that fight? Makes zero sense. He's better off fighting George Kambosos Jr., both of them, because Vasyl Lomachenko and Kambosos Jr. are the two unified champions, former, that are left in the division. Teofimo's gone. Devin, the current champions, moving up. That fight makes a lot more sense than Shakur Stevenson, no belts, lost his belt on the scale at 130. What do you think? And that makes a lot more sense for Tank Davis. But like I said, Shakur Stevenson, hey, you said you're done waiting. You'll fight anybody. Well, you should have took the contract. You should have dared to be great like Devin did because he was that confident when he fought George Kambosos at a 21 to 79 split, or when Floyd fought Oscar De La Hoya, oozing with confidence, took a 30 to 70 split. Well, it wasn't a low ball offer because, again, you lost your belt on the scale. You're not a current world champion. You have no leverage. Now you're sitting around waiting. But after the Devin Vasil fight, you're in the ring like, oh, he ain't on my level. But no, I won't take the contract. Makes zero sense. You're in there sitting around watching Terrence Bud Crawford. You know, why is Shakur Stevenson so buddy with boxers? Like, he came up with Devin Haney. They came up like brothers, and now he's talking crap to him, right? He's sitting here next to Terrence Bud Crawford and trying to get some of that greatness off of him, a guy that will take these fights, a guy that did face Errol Spence. Now, I know the purse split wasn't like the purse split he received from Devin, but that's neither here nor there. I've already thrown out there that the guys that are really confident, they take that purse split because they know that not only are they going to win, but they know what the win will do for their careers. Shakur Stevenson sitting around here with Terrence Bud Crawford. He's always on the scene after a Gervonta Davis fight. Oh, yeah, photo op. Let's get a photo op. Even at a younger age, these guys next to each other. Let's get a photo op. Let's do that. You're calling out everybody but each other. Why? I don't know. Fight each other. How does that fight not make sense? If you're so great, Shakur Stevenson, and you're a great boxer, Gervonta Davis is a great boxer as well. Listen, you got Gervonta Davis, 29 fights, 27 knockouts. You got Shakur Stevenson, 20 fights, 10 knockouts, both undefeated. Both of them notable names in the sport. Tell me that they aren't going to show up to the Barclays, that they aren't going to show up to the Garden, that they aren't going to show up wherever this damn fight would take place. This is a big fight, but they don't want to take that risk. They don't want to take that risk unless there's more on the line. Oh, yeah, Devin Haney's a duck, though. Make it make sense, please. Like, earn it. You didn't want the contract, Shakur. Tank, you sent Devin. You guys sent Devin a contract. He's the champion. He's moving up. They're not going to strip him. Hell, Tank, you've been masquerading around with this belt for I don't know how long, when everybody knows the real unified champion, the guy that has all the official belts, is Devin the Dream Haney. That being said, like, why don't you go and earn those real belts? Try to get the Vasil fight. Try to get the Kambosos fight, the guys that held the belts before. Earn it. Fight Shakur. The mandatory for Devin. It doesn't make sense how these guys want to call out everybody, but they don't want to fight each other. It just doesn't make sense to me. And speaking of Devin Haney, as I mentioned, Devin Haney's moving up to 140 pounds to face Regis Prograis. Now, Regis Prograis lost to Josh Taylor. Other than that, he's unblemished. Josh Taylor just got defeated by Teofimo Lopez. This fight here could, for all intents and purposes, decide who Teo fights next. And that's exactly what I think is going to happen. I think Devin's camp came out and said Teo was next after this fight. All right? I don't know what your appetite is for this fight, and I know fans would rather see Devin in there with a Shakur, Devin Hell rematching Loma, and definitely Devin facing Tank Davis. Well, that's not going to happen. This is the fight we're going to get. I'm not mad at it. The guy cuts a lot of weight. So, hell, cut a little bit less and move up a weight class and fight a seasoned veteran, a great fighter in his own right, in Regis Prograis. That being said, Regis Prograis came out, social media, saying how he accepted the contract and they keep trying to change things. And Devin Haney fires back and he's like, hey, why the hell would we fight the same night Tyson Fury faces Francis Ngannou? Is that the fight? Hold on. Yeah, why the hell? Like, obviously, Regis Prograis doesn't know the business side as well as Team Haney. And that's okay. That's okay, because they are going to get in there. They are going to mix it up. And my preliminary pick, of course, is Devin the Dream Haney. Devin the Dream Haney. Moving on to something a little bit more exciting here. Boxing fans in the know. Boxing fans in the know that Boxing fans in the know that Caleb Plant, he's been known to get a little razzle-dazzle. You saw him get mixed up with Canelo Alvarez, and he got a little cut under his eye. You know what I mean? The build-up to that fight. We saw the build-up to the Benavidez fight. That could have went left real quick. And now he's been seen with Jermall Charlo, brother of Jermell, twin brother of Jermell, in I want to say the hallway. Who cares where they're at? He slapped the shit out of Jermall Charlo. Slapped him, turned his face. You didn't see it? Let me put it up here for you to see. Yes, Caleb Plant slaps the taste out of Jermall Charlo's mouth. You see it right here? Full neck extension. Turned him. Body still this way. Head facing, looking all the way behind him damn near. Yeah, connected flush, Caleb Plant did. And a lot of people, are saying, whoa, he let him ride with that? He let him ride with that? There were some guys that, got in between after this happened. They got in between and they didn't want anything to happen. But at the end of the day, I don't think Jermall Charlo made any type of effort to get that back, to get to Caleb. Like it almost, I don't know if he was in shock. I don't know, but he didn't make any effort to get over to Caleb Plant after Caleb Plant delivered a heavy dose of disrespect. That being said, Jermall Charlo decides that he's going to press charges. Again, he decided he's going to press charges. He didn't do anything on the scene, so he's going to press charges, and Caleb Plant, comes out, says, you can't make this up. You can't make this up. Like, I don't know. Like, is this kid stuff to really harp on a guy who got slapped? Be like, oh, you're whatever you are. You didn't do anything to this guy after he slapped you. I don't know. That could be a thing, but this is boxing, and that's not going to bode well in any type of buildup Jermall has in his potential next fight. They're going to bring it up. Hey, didn't you get the crap slapped out of you by Caleb Plant? Hey, what'd you do about it? Oh, you called the police? Wow. That's what they're going to say. Is it right? Is it wrong? It's assault. It's assault. But these guys are prize fighters. So, you know what I mean? That kind of stuff is frowned upon. It's frowned upon. So, fan-made. But apparently, Jermall Charlo has an upcoming film. All right? An upcoming film. And you see the title there. I'll let that lie. I'm moving on to the heavyweight division. The heavyweight division of boxing. Yes. I think it was it? No. Listen. Was it Dillian White or was it Chisora? I think it was Dillian White. So anyways, Anthony Joshua's opponent pops for multiple things. So they have to find a guy to replace him on short notice, and they find Robert Helenius. Robert Helenius. Yes, he's fresh off his own fight, and he was notable for facing Deontay Wilder in Deontay's comeback fight. Well, the fight didn't go well for Helenius. He was KO'd in the 7th round, but, I don't want to really talk about the fact that he was KO'd in the 7th round because, honestly, nobody picked him to win the fight. So we're not shocked that he got dispatched. But the way that he got dispatched is kind of what I want to talk about mostly. I mean, although Anthony Joshua did get him out of there, did you see his face? Did you see the fight? Yeah, Anthony Joshua was getting touched, and he was wearing it on his face. Yeah, he did what he needed to do. He got him out of there, but come on, man, come on. This is the guy that got boxed up by Usyk twice. No disrespect. Usyk obviously has shown that he's a great boxer in multiple divisions. No disrespect. But he's a cruiserweight. He's not even a heavyweight, really. He's a heavyweight champion, though. That being said, Ruiz, how many times did he drop him in the first fight? Before, I know the rematch, he came in like weighing a metric ton. But in the first fight, when he was hungry, before Ruiz got the belts, he set Joshua down several times. Set him down. And Joshua didn't get him out of there. That being said, again, Helenius faced Wilder in his comeback fight. Wilder got him out of there and won. The most feared man in boxing, Deontay Wilder, who Ruiz don't want to fight. He's like fumbling around with the money, fumbling around trying to delay things, postpone things. He ain't doing everything but signing the contract. Obviously, Usyk doesn't want any parts of Wilder. And he says, oh, well, I'm trying to unify the belts against Fury. Fury obviously ain't taking that fight, bud. You gonna fight Daniel Dubois? Fight Wilder. Fight Wilder. And if you want to ever become a name before you, a pay-per-view draw before you're done with this sport, Usyk, fight Deontay Wilder. Anthony Joshua's camp, Eddie Hearn. Oh, well, if Joshua touches Wilder, if he catches him, he's going to sleep. I think it's the other way around. I mean, you just punched around with Robert Helenius for 7 rounds before you got him out of there. Deontay Wilder will literally KO you in an instant, in a damn instant. So quick, I can't even do it quick enough. He'll KO you. But that being said, he's not this is all publicity. Anthony Joshua is not going to sign up to fight Wilder because he knows if he does, he's going to sleep. And it might be the long win. It might be the long win. So why would he do that? Again, they're lucky that Tyson Fury got that belt off of Wilder so they can use that as an excuse to not face him. Well, he's not a world champion. The real recognize real, and we're not fooled. Last thing on this, do you guys have a problem with after Anthony Joshua wins the fight, Conor McGregor, shoving the forged stout in his face, and him obliging and drinking? I mean, that's cool. All publicity is good publicity, right? Conor McGregor, shouldn't you be training for a fight, though? I mean, what the hell, dude? You've been seen everywhere drinking. Let's not talk about you, though. Let's stick on the heavyweight division here. Back to the big boy fight, the one between the former UFC heavyweight champion in Francis Ngannou and the lineal heavyweight champion of the world in boxing, the Gypsy King Tyson Fury. Yeah, it's happening in Saudi Arabia, and I'm talking about it right now because obviously fans in the know came out and they know that Francis Ngannou is being trained by Tyson Fury's namesake, and that is Iron Mike Tyson. Now, Iron Mike Tyson has always been seen on videos like showing guys some pointers, doing some quick techniques, some quick combinations, but he's never trained anybody like that. So this is the first official venture into training a fighter for a big fight. That being said, I'm sure Francis Ngannou can learn a lot from Mike Tyson. But if you're looking for Francis Ngannou to replicate the style of Mike Tyson, don't hold your breath. Don't hold your breath. These are two different men with two different skill sets. Yes, they're both devastating punchers. But Francis Ngannou can train as long as he's been on this planet, and he would never be able to mimic Iron Mike Tyson. Will he be able to defeat Francis Ngannou? They say he has a puncher's chance. Yeah, he's got that. But let's do the math here. They said that Deontay Wilder didn't have the boxing mechanics. He didn't have the boxing wherewithal. He was just a devastating puncher that could put your lights out in an instant. Did you see what did you see what Tyson Fury did to Wilder on 3 different occasions? Now, yes, Wilder set him down. He's the only man to do it like that. But did you see what Tyson did to Wilder in 3 fights? So the fact that Deontay Wilder could not knock out Tyson Fury, you expect me to believe an MMA fighter is going to come over and do it? Please. To do that, you're gonna need more than Mike Tyson in your corner. You're gonna need divine intervention. Okay, I was going to say something else. I don't want to get too crazy. Last thing on this, Francis. UFC still slighting him. This is the former heavyweight champion of the world. But the UFC is going to create a graphic to say that this other guy is the only Cameroonian UFC fighter in history. Well, everybody knows Francis is from Cameroon. Why do they keep disrespecting this guy? I don't get it. But disrespect him all you want. It's not going to take away the Fury fight. Checkmate, Ngannou. Boxing, a little bit more boxing. Again, I said I was going to speak on the Jake Paul versus Nate Diaz soiree. Now, Jake Paul improves to 5-0 against former MMA fighters. And let me break that down. Tyron Woodley, retired, career 170-pounder, loses to Jake Paul twice. Career 170-pounder, Tyron Woodley loses to Jake Paul twice. What's next? Career 170-pounder, Ben Askren, loses to Jake Paul. Okay? Next. That's 3. 4, Anderson Silva, who is in his 40s, almost 50. I forget how old he was. Way past his prime. And didn't have a graceful exit from the UFC. He beats him 4-0. I'm just saying, so right now you got 3 retired MMA fighters. Askren, Woodley, Silva. All in the twilight years of their career. 2 of them moving up a great amount of weight from what they competed at their best at 170 pounds. Silva at 185, and he did moonlight at 205, so I'll give him that, but old as fuck. And then you put Nate Diaz in there, a career 155-pounder. They're like, oh, he fought at 170. Who'd he beat there? Who'd he beat at 170? Rory Markham? All of Nate Diaz's greatest performances were at 155 pounds. And he's coming up to face a guy that's fought around 200 pounds. All of his boxing matches, he fought damn near 50 pounds below that, Nate Diaz did. That's where he was his best. And you got a guy that's bigger, faster, stronger, younger. Why did this fight happen? People wanted to see this. I'm glad Nate didn't get knocked out, but it did get a little dicey, as a lot of Nate Diaz fights do go. But damn. Then when Jake knocked Nate down, I was like, no, bro, no. But he got back up. Showed his typical Nate Diaz heart, and finished the fight. And no disrespect to him, he got paid. He got paid more in that fight, I'm sure, than he ever did in any UFC fight that he ever had, probably including Conor McGregor. Maybe not. No, I don't know. Maybe. Who knows? I haven't seen the numbers for the Nate Diaz, Jake Paul. I'm going to look into that after this. Later in the fight, though, Nate Diaz knew he'd lost the fight, but decided to grab Jake's neck, symbolizing that, hey, if this was a quote-unquote real fight, he'd have strangled him and got out of there with the check. Well, this was a boxing match, and you lost, Nate. The next thing is, a lot of people say if there was unlimited time in any MMA or boxing match, this would be Nate Diaz. I beg to differ. Like, they give this guy superhuman cardio. But yeah, he is in there late. And if that fight was longer, 13, I think Nate would have been the fresher guy, even though Jake did look really good late. He did get a second win, and he didn't look too gassed as he did in his previous performances. Tyson Fury, the first Woodley fight, you know what I mean? Like, he did look a little gassed in those. So he got that under control. He's got the best guys he can get that his money can buy around him. So I'm not surprised that a guy gets in there and he's younger, he's stronger, he's a bigger guy, defeating a guy that competed damn near 50 pounds below where the boxing match takes place. Like that, obviously that we know what's going to happen with that. So Jake wants to fight in MMA next. Well, there's footage of Jake Paul training MMA back in the day and definitely getting tapped out. I wouldn't, even with the size discrepancy, if you put him in the cage with Nate Diaz, I'm going with Nate Diaz. I'm going with the Cesar Gracie Jiu-Jitsu with the Richard Perez boxing. And I think that in MMA, those strikes that Nate Diaz was throwing in that boxing match would be more effective than they were with the bigger gloves. Why do I think that? Because I've seen it. I've seen it more effective on tougher guys than that of Jake Paul. That being said, if they do get in there, Jake Paul is signed to the PFL. Nate Diaz wants to go back to the UFC. I really don't see this happening, guys. I don't see it happening because I don't see Nate Diaz signing a PFL contract. I don't. And nobody that I know of has went to the PFL and came back to the UFC, and that's exactly what Nathan Diaz intends to do. So take that into account. Why did they give Nick Diaz a mic? Put him on the broadcast, and he gets on there and pretty much craps on Jake and Nate, saying, I'm better than all these guys. You know what I mean? And everybody knows the Diazism. I mean, we know how they talk, so I'm not going to harp on that. But I'm saying, bro, you pretty much quit in your last MMA fight. You waved Robbie Lawler off. You said, I've had enough. Do they even put you back in there again? I don't know, but I know you're under contract. I know you would like the payday that your younger brother got against Jake. And a lot of people respect your boxing a lot more than they do Nate Diaz. But do you still got it, Nick? If you do, I'd love to see it. I'd love to see that fight. But I do not want to see another Robbie Lawler performance. I don't want to see you, put up a good account initially, but then get hurt and then, wave it off. I'm done. You got me. Because, what the hell is that even? Anyways, sticking on topic, Logan Paul flies all the way after his WWE match to be there to watch his brother win. And Jake did just that. So Jake and Logan Paul, they're doing their thing. Yes, the only quote-unquote real boxer that Jake Paul faced, and he didn't even defeat, he got beat, Tommy Fury. Guys, do me a favor and go look at Tommy Fury's opponents. It is laughable. It's laughable. The last guy he fought before Jake was probably the best guy he's fought, but the guys before that, completely laughable. That being said, Jake Paul getting in the ring with Tommy Fury and being defeated shows you what you need to know. Jake Paul needs to get in there with KSI, his former influencer. That's the space that he's in. I'm sorry. I'm not sorry. This is just the facts. If Jake Paul loses to Tommy Fury, how do you think Jake Paul would fare against a guy that's also training boxing, that's hungry, that's getting it out the mud, that has aspirations to become a world champion one day? Do you think if Jake Paul gets in there with a guy like that, it's going to go well for him? I think not. Listen, the only guys that he's been able to beat are retired MMA fighters, former NBA player, sorry. But come on, if you're beating a former NBA player, a Neeson Gibb, a pre-diabetic gas station attendant, and former MMA fighters, and then you get in there with Tommy Fury, who his opponents, the list of his opponents is laughable, and you don't even beat that guy. The guy in Philadelphia, the guy in Brooklyn, the guy's getting it out the mud, they're hungry, they're coming up, and they're training and focusing on boxing. Not a good match for you. Not a good match. And honestly, you should have fought Rockman Jr. because obviously he showed that he doesn't have very good cardio and he can be hurt. I don't know. You obviously put all those obstacles in the way for a reason, but that fight never did take place. That being said, Logan wants to taste the boxing world again, and he's got a fight coming up scheduled with Dylan Dennis. Why is this noteworthy? Well, the last match with Dylan Dennis was supposed to be KSI, but that fight never took place because Dylan Dennis flaked. He flaked. Now, Dylan Dennis has been the butt of many jokes. I mean, Ariel Helwani owned him. He's been seen getting struck in the face and backed up into a Jeep. He's been a Bellator fighter for how long? But when's the last time he's fought? Hell, even the president of the company came out and said he doesn't think he's even serious about fighting. That being said, you flaked on KSI. You're going to show up for Logan, though? They said they put parameters in there to penalize you or fine you if you don't show up. What does that say? What? You're a runner? You're a track star. You're going to run away when it gets hard. You show up for the promotions. You like to keep your name out there. You like to be relevant. You like to keep yourself relevant. But when the fights actually are supposed to go down, you don't show. You don't show. Logan Paul already lost to KSI. Who has Logan Paul been in there with notable in boxing? Floyd Money Mayweather, a much, much smaller guy who clearly boxed him up. There's footage where it looks like he was holding Logan Paul up. But Dylan Dennis, striking is not even his MMA. Is not even his MMA forte. Boxing definitely ain't. This man is a jiu-jitsu player. Who the hell wants to see a jiu-jitsu player in a boxing match? Not this guy. Not this guy. Miss me with that. Speaking of the PFL, the only other fighter to unify all is Clarissa Shields. Bud Crawford, Clarissa Shields. Well, Clarissa Shields just decided, hey, I'm going to dare to be great and sign a multi-deal contract back with the PFL. Clarissa Shields, she decided that she's going to sign a multi-fight contract back with the PFL. She's already took an L. I know she doesn't lose in boxing, and no disrespect to her. It's a new sport. She took an L in MMA and decided she's not done. Respect to the GOAT, the greatest woman fighter of all time, the greatest woman of all time, what she calls herself. I concur. I mean, like I said, 2-time Olympic gold medalist, unified all the belts in 2 different weight classes in the 4. I'm rooting for you, whatever you do. Go get him. Speaking of MMA, Charles do Bronx Oliveira. Champion. Yeah, I know we got Canelo. I know we have Canelo versus Charlo coming up. I did touch on that a little bit earlier, and I'm going to get to that again before I get out of here. Just touching on a little bit of MMA right now. We got Islam Makhachev, Charles Oliveira. Charles Oliveira, who went into the first fight in enemy territory, and we saw that fight. We saw that Charles was defeated by Islam Makhachev. Well, Islam defeated Volkanovski. Charles Oliveira did his thing. He's right back in the mix for another title shot. Does this fight go the same way? Does it go the same way? I don't know. But this is the only fight to make. The Volkanovski fight isn't the fight to make. This is the fight to make. Charles was on the longest of winning streaks. Islam clearly is on one as well. They got to run it back, and I'm glad they're doing it. I'm really glad they're doing it. Again, I don't know who wins this fight, but I'm not going to pick against either. I'm not betting on this. I hope to see a tremendous fight, and I hope it goes longer than it did the first time. I hope Charles Oliveira makes a better account of himself. Honestly, I could see this fight going the same way, but opposite. Like, I could see Charles Oliveira doing to Islam what Islam did to him the first time, or it could go the exact same way. Who knows? But we got to show up and see. Derek Lewis, the Black Beast Derek Lewis, re-signs with the Ultimate Fighting Championship. Yes, he came in looking tremendous on the scale, looking in the best shape of his UFC career. And then in the fight, that knee just went up just a little bit higher. that knee went up just a little bit higher. And he was able to connect Rogério de Lima's chin, put him down, pounded him out, got him out of there. Vintage Derek Lewis style. And of course, he had his shenanigans after the fight was over, took off the shorts, removed the shorts, did the DX chop, and then Joe Rogan asked him, about the shorts, and he goes, my balls, man, they get a lot, So I get it. Derek Lewis with his antics. Hey, he's a fan favorite. How far is Derek Lewis's reach? Well, he definitely got the attention of one Kim K. As you see, she's posting a video here. She's at home or wherever she's at. She's watching the fight. Derek Lewis is on her screen. She's entertained Kim Kardashian and posted it to her story. Yes, Derek the Black Beast Lewis. Calvin Klein deal for the underpants. Yeah, this man's balls were hot. Calvin Klein's trying to cool him down a little bit. We got just one more thing, and then I'm getting out of here. Your boy's getting kind of hot. Last thing that I wanted to touch on is Tony El Kukui Ferguson. Now, this man used to be a killer. Nobody wanted to face him. Nobody wanted to face Tony Ferguson. They even posted pictures of his opponents, what they looked like before the fight, fresh as a daisy. What they looked like after the fight, like they'd been in a fight with Freddy Krueger or Jason Voorhees. Just a massacre. But now Tony's the guy that's looking like that after the fights. And Father Time is undefeated. Just to give you guys a visual of what happened to Tony Ferguson was on a 12 fight winning streak, messing boys all the way up. And he's lost his last 6. Put that into perspective. Never got the Khabib fight. They were supposed to fight 4 or 5 times. Listen, there's many reasons why that fight fell off. I'm just saying Tony Ferguson never was able to realize his real championship because he was an interim champion. He beat Kevin Lee, got the interim championship, but he never got a chance to unify it. Conor McGregor didn't fight him. Khabib, unfortunately, didn't fight him. So, Father Time. And honestly, when he got in there with Justin Gaethje, that put the final nails in the coffin. That was a beating of great proportions, and it was sad to watch. After Tony Ferguson's most recent defeat, what did he have to say? He says, goats come and go, but boats stay afloat. I'm a boat. I'm the best of all time. If that's what you got to tell yourself to still kick and do this, hey, who am I to tell you that you can't get in your underpants, get in that cage, and fight another grown man for a living? Do your thing. And if they want to keep giving you fights, fair enough. You looked okay at first in the Chandler fight before you were rendered unconscious. The Diaz fight, it was neither here nor there. And obviously this fight here with I can't even remember his name right now, but you looked all right before that went south as well. So that being said, I don't know. This is kind of cringy because they asked Tony Ferguson used to carry around a baseball, and they asked him, "Hey, what's the baseball for? What's the baseball for?" And he answered, "Because in case they run." I don't even know what that means. In case they run. Man, that being said, Tony Ferguson was once one of the greatest fighters of all time, and in the lightweight division, because of the long streak that he was on. Not many have done that. Not many were able. That's been touted as the toughest division in the sport. Not many have been able to amass a winning streak like that of Tony Ferguson. Respect to what he did. I hope he gets out of this with his faculties and not taking too much more damage. And I'll leave it at that. So again, gonna put a button on this. Your boy's breaking a sweat in here. You know what I mean? It's getting pretty hot, and I got a fan on me. We touched on a lot of things here. We touched on Canelo Alvarez, which Champy wanted to speak on. I'll put that back up for a minute. Hey, actually, let me go ahead and do this. I'll put it up like this. Canelo Alvarez, I'm picking him to beat Jermell Charlo. I'm picking Canelo Alvarez to defeat Jermell Charlo because Canelo has shown that his power does translate to larger men. They say, oh, Jermell's coming up 2 weight classes. You're coming up 2 weight classes, but you're the bigger man. Make it make sense. Make it make sense. Canelo's a shoo-in to win this fight, guys. That being said, got to thank you guys for watching. As always, like, share, comment, subscribe. We're trying to get to that 600, trying to push forward to monetization as usual. So yes, like, share, comment, subscribe. Helps me get the message out there. Helps me get the word out there. And of course, until next time, stay frosty.